Hey everyone, how you doing today? Been doing a lot of work to this ship. It's not done yet, but I'm making headway on it. It's been a very complicated interior to do so far. I'll kind of tell you why that is in a minute here, but I got a couple names I'm thinking about. One is Hermes, which is a Greek god of transportation, and another is Hercules. And that is would be kind of meaning strength. Either one I think would work. If you got a better suggestion, please let me know. Nothing's finalized yet on names. Oh, I got some more. I gotta retexture some stuff. I've been doing a lot of interior work here. Let me do a little tour of what I've got here a second. I'm gonna do the night light thing first, and then now the bridge hasn't changed much since I showed you last. I'm not done with the bridge yet. I gotta decorate it and put in like interior stuff and all that fun stuff here. But what I've been really trying to do is map the interior out, and why it's so tricky on this build compared to a lot of other builds is there's so many areas that I need to allow access to and have the pathing so everything works and fits and all the big parts have their homes, and that's been it's been a little rough, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm working this out. Like right below the bridge, you have your front entry room, which also had to connect to these cargo modules, which are built into the big thruster pods on the sides. So got that kind of worked out. I've been really working hard on trying to come up with the look of it and the lighting and everything like that. I'm trying to make this look clean and like brand shiny new, high tech. Now I've largely have not done LCDs. There's a couple in place, but that's about it right now. So below the bridge, basically, you got this nice little side stairway, and it's mostly asymmetrical on the front of the ship as well. Um, and this is a bit plain here. Maybe I'll try to get something more in here. Now, another thing I did do, don't mind the lack of LCDs, is I did add in a 80K ammo controller to it, and that is right over there. As you go down here, now this room is not finished at all. I'm just trying to figure it out. Right now, I would really like to find a new home for these two parts, but I'm running out of ideas on where I could possibly put them. So I got them here now, and this area is largely undetailed. Inside of the door over here, you walk into engineering, and this is where I got the shield placed and the warp core placed and a bunch of stuff with core blocks. Well, the main core is over here. What I'm doing on this ship, due to some lessons learned on past ships, is I'm trying to keep like the core and the CPU cores away from the floor. So I'm elevating them up another block, which is going to give it a 2 block distance from the outer hull. As you go below here, you'll see you got nice 2 blocks, and it's also surrounded by which will be, it's not yet, but it will be hardened steel. Right now the chassis is still steel. And this is embedded in behind a big thruster pod over here. So it's really quite secure, I believe. So that's what's going on there. Now on CPU cores, I want this to work with both Reforged Eden and Vanilla. So I'm allowing for an awful lot more cores, and I'm trying to build that into the design here. So here's your vanilla cores, or your 4T4 cores that are here. I've got a couple extra slots there, and a couple more slots here for Reforged Eden cores. And then I also actually have a little bit of extra room over here as well. And yeah, again, I want it to work with both, and I want you to be able to put in power as needed depending on what you're doing with it and how many thrusters it's running at the time. And I'll show you where that is when I get into the hangar on where what I've got done so far. Now the hangar is largely unfinished. But I've been trying to work out the pathing to get to all these storage modules, and I'm doing like a little upper walkway on both sides here. This side I got connected to a staircase right now. The other side I do not yet. Decided I was going to put medical right at the front of the bridge, or front of the hangar, not the bridge. And that's coming along. I'm really kind of like that. It's similar idea on what I did with the MCRN Leviathan. I had a medical bay in the hangar. I kind of liked that. I liked how it stuck out from the rest. Now a lot of these walls and stuff are undetailed, and there'll be more stuff here. And I'm just kind of quickly playing around with LCDs to see if I should use LCDs for the name inside the hangar instead of decals, and I think I will do that. Another little thing that was different on this ship is because I indented the flight deck by a half block, it caused me not to be able to do my normal thing of doing a bunch of different block work on the ceiling. So I had to build like a subframe of a bunch of carbon substrate mainly to give it some definition, and I've been working on that. Colors are a little bit different, I suppose, versus some other ships. It's kind of going for that clean white, gray, dash of red in places look, and that's kind of coming along all right. Now right off from the bridge you have a farm. Farm is just running 36 grow plots. Off to the side of the farm I have another room that's unfinished, and this will be the crew area over here. Has a little look out into the hangar as well. And the other side doesn't have that same area going on here. Let's get some regular lights going on here. And what I need to do now is figure out a crafting area, and I think I'm going to put that out in the corner over here. But a crafting area, but I also need a staircase to get up to that balcony. I have played around with the idea of moving these down to ground floor, but then I kind of decided not to again, as I do like them kind of elevated the way they are, and that kind of keeps up a lot of keeps the ground floor open for other things. But when I get into crafting here, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do, and it's basically this corner here I need to work out next. And then I also got to figure out what I'm doing, how I'm connecting these areas here to both the elevator and so you got access to the inside of these rear thruster pods. Now on the choice of making the ship shorter. Now this is the full version that was originally done yet. The way it's being set up is I'm trying to keep these areas so it could be cut down. It would off-center like the name and everything though, which I'm a little worried about. As in generators, there's a lot of slots for generators. Right now I just have 4 of these 1x3 generators installed. It might need more than that right now, but I've got an extra 6 slots in the hangar to add more of those, and it might fluctuate depending on how much thrusters this ship is running at the time. Now I do plan on releasing the ship minus these rear extra large thrusters on each thruster pad. I can use a part there and seal it all up and make it pretty easy to put them back in place. You might not need those additional thrusters. But if you're playing the game and you're going to get into high gravity planets and things like that, they might come in quite useful. So I'm going to leave some kind of LCD upgrade option for that, as well as like switching this over from vanilla to Reforged Eden. I'm trying to make it as painless as possible with maybe a parts list of what you're going to need and where you should put it. And that's where I'm at right now. But my goodness, why I ran into so much complexities on building this thing is just the utter sheer amount of parts that I'm trying to get in here in a nice, logical, orderly way, one way or another, like fitting where you know the big parts are going to go. And it's really weird. I had to work around a lot of obstacles because of this because of how these thruster pods are set up. It kind of cuts right into the ship here, so I had to work around those. And then I'm trying to keep this pretty tight and small at the front as well. And then, of course, make the rooms look as big as I possibly can make them look. Some of these don't have very tall ceilings, like over here. If you were to just look at this in unfinished form, you realize that this only got like a 2 block, not, well, 1 block open space, and then the rest of the blocks are ceiling. Um, so I'm just trying to do everything I can to fit everything correctly and line it up to this, that, and the other thing and whatnot. And then with the asymmetrical pathing, just going down one side, I didn't want to waste the room or center it. If I centered it, it was going to chop right into the engineering area, which I needed more space in on one side to pull this off, at least what I got on here. Now, my big regret, though, is that I highly wanted to get these 2 parts in engineering, and I've been messing with it and messing with it and messing with it, and I cannot find a solution to do that. Um, just not enough room here. I think I would have to extend engineering back further into the ship, but I'm not trying to take up any more hangar space with the front part of the ship. So that is where it's at now. Another thing. On the long version here, my biggest problem with the long version is, well, there's a couple issues. One, I think it's too repetitive going down the side. I got 6 of these things. It looks a little more better with only 4. But I really do like the extra space inside the ship on the role that I'm trying to design this for. And quite frankly, the shorter ship is not much cheaper. The bigger ship has more room for hangar space and landing pads, as well as some more storage that you may or may not need. But I think a solution I'm going to go for, and I'll show you an example of that. I was kind of just messing with this one over here, and I wanted to break up what was going on the sides. I'm even cool with 4 of these things, but it's just like something has to give. So I was trying to come up with alternative design for a couple of these areas to split it up so it doesn't look so repetitive. And this was like version 1.0. I think I might do something like this with this ship as well, on maybe the front 2 cargo pieces, and kind of build like some kind of plating over that area. Maybe not quite this design, but general idea of what I was thinking. Now, extra blocks on this version, I was just kind of toying with the idea of what if this was not a cargo ship and was a combat ship? What would it need to like strengthen the hull and make it a tough ship? And I don't think I'm necessarily going to go through with this idea, except for the idea of taking and splitting up the cargo extensions on the side. I guess it wasn't really designed for that. Now, I keep on getting requests, and it's something I do want to build in hopefully the near future, and that is a dedicated combat CV that's kind of not terribly large. It's not going to have much of a hangar, if any hangar at all, but the design would be kind of compact, very tough, not a lot of interior space, designed to do the worst of the worst battles. So it'll probably be running a full barrage of weaponry, combat steel, probably multiple layers of combat steel, and be fairly tight with interior space and things like that. So it's not going to have a lot of luxury, or maybe I guess it's hard to say right now, but this is just a general idea of what I was thinking on for a future build. So I guess I'm curious. So what do you guys think about the name? Got any better ideas versus Hermes or Hercules? I'm completely open to suggestion. I'm just trying to go with the theme of existing human ships that I've made. Kind of using that mythological name thing. I thought, I larger ships like this, I don't really want to call like transit. Like I first when I started this, I showed you the transit kind of line, but even in there, the larger ships, being the Ambry and the Charon, were or Charon, Charon. I gotta look that one up on how you say it. But basically, the larger ships, I've been going with like an individual named theme, where the smaller ships, I've just been kind of like calling like they're a transit or they're a scarab or they're a merc or something like that. It's a little easier, so I don't have to come up with names for every individual ship. But I do feel larger ships should be that way. Um, I go with what I've done in the past and kind of fit into the scheme. Also, I'm curious, what do you think about the relatively clean look of this ship? It might be a little cleaner even than some of my other human ships. It'll darken up more when I get the landing, the floor in here and all textured up and everything too. Because I'll probably go with my standard, pretty dark um, landing pads and things like that. I switched over a long time ago. I used to make landing pads more of a whiter look, and then with the Persis CV2, I came up with like a new way to do hangars or hangar floors, and I kind of like that new way better. It would be a lot like what's up on top here, pretty dark, but it fluctuates a little bit in color, and then integrated texture lights underneath these lines which illuminate at night. It's something I've liked ever since I figured that out a long time ago, and quite frankly, I have not found a better way to do landing pads yet. I could fill these lights in more, but then I think it gets a little too repetitive, so I kind of space them out a little bit. Um, so the hangar floor would be something like that, more or less. But yeah, I don't know. I tried to get a little bit of color in here too. I mean, obviously not a lot of color, but there's a lot of color fluctuation in grays, especially though. I'm using a lot of different shades of gray. Like there's a medium gray on like with a part of the ceiling, and a darker light gray for like this part, and fluctuations in this part, and some of these are different colors, and it's just there's a lot of stuff there. But once I can figure out a solution for how I'm going to get the crafting in here and a staircase up over here, I think that's pretty much it for the last of the complications. Figuring out this puzzle on how to make the interior work, and it really has been a puzzle. I mean, I was I started with one thing and I blew it away, and I did something else and I blew that away, and then I switched it around again, and then I modified it a couple times. So that's why this one's just taking so long. Like I didn't really have this problem with the Acepolis, similar interiors I would say, but the Acepolis had a lot of room, and I was filling in a lot of fluff, and I had plenty of room for engineering and things like that, so it wasn't really an issue. Where this one, I'm just trying to compact everything as much as I can and make all these connections work. And also, yeah, there's a central elevator here too that'll get you up to here. Now, one issue I've got yet, and I might have to figure this out, is the only way up to the landing pad right now would be up this middle staircase here. Well, that's not the only way, and there's actually these two elevators in back too. So I don't know. Maybe that won't be an issue. I don't necessarily like the idea of having to walk through the bridge to get to the landing pad, but I'm not sure where else to make that happen, especially since my elevators are offset and things like that. So, I mean, the layout is a little different than my normal ship. Usually, on a ship this size, I would have a central elevator that comes up the middle of the ship and gets you out to that point. But obviously, I did everything a little different. It's a little more asymmetrical than most of the ships, and that was done to maximize the amount of space I could have in certain rooms and not divide them up in the middle because of the elevator. Um, so that's where I'm at right now. Just curious on your thoughts and if you like this or not. A bit experimental. The whole build's kind of experimental, but I do believe it should work quite well for what it's supposed to do, and that is to move an awful lot of cargo and HVs and SVs, and be able to deal with. I'm hoping the worst of the worst for high gravity planets. Um, that yet needs to be tested. I heard planets can get up to 5G in gravity. Could this lift off with a full cargo load if it had all its 8XL thrusters in a 5G environment? That I have to find out. And if it doesn't, then what I'll do is try to figure out exactly what it could hold and come up with like a maximum load capacity at different gravity planets. Now that could involve a fair amount of research as well, just to come up with those numbers. And then also I'm going to need some LCDs for telling you how to upgrade this ship, switch it over to Reforged Eden, increase its power and thrusters, basically like a thruster upgrade package, and then figure out how the CPU plays out with both. So if it all comes together, this would probably be the first ship that I've designed specifically to be compatible with Reforged Eden and Vanilla all at once, and that would be kind of neat. It would be kind of a nice little thing to do on most ships moving forward. But I will say it does add in extra levels of complication. So you got to think about even more stuff than what you were thinking about prior. Um, But yeah, that's where I'm at. Just definitely let me know what you think. If you agree with the names, either of the names I picked out, or got another name that would be appropriate. Obviously, I'm looking for definition of these names. Strength is one definition. Transport, storage, cargo, carrier, any names that would fit into that bunch also work just fine. And yeah. And that's where I'm at today. So anyway, there we go. Anyway, you all have a good day, and I will talk to you later.